Hi, welcome to the Songwriter Diaries. This is a podcast all about picking the brain of every songwriter that you know. So grab a glass of wine and join us. My name is Megan Ellsworth. My co-host is Caroline Stump. This is the Songwriter Diaries. We're all depressed, so let's write a song about it. Oh my gosh, welcome. Hello, we love you. We're obsessed with you. We're so excited to have you on.
Your biggest fans.
Yes.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, hyping it up.
My mom I have some.
I feel like this was the episode. I feel like I'm a pretty chill person and don't get starstruck, but I'm like, oh my gosh, Megan's so good and we're gonna talk to her. I was so excited.
I how many minutes do you want for me to ruin that for you? Have you ever heard that thing, like, don't meet your people that you're
yes. Don't meet your heroes.
I'm not saying I'm your hero. I'm just saying.
No, but you are, Megan. You are the hero.
Well, great. Thank you.
So,
I'll take it.
This is Megan Burtt, and she's amazing. Mm-hmm. We're all sure you've heard of her before, but
internet, probably not.
Can you just start by telling our audience a little bit about yourself and your journey as an artist and songwriter?
Oh gosh, how far back do I have to go?
As far
back
as you
want to. The beginning.
When I was 4, you guys were like, should we laugh? I'm not sure if she's serious. Okay. Gosh, what do you want to know? I'm a Virgo.
Oh, I love that.
Love Virgos.
I'm a Virgo. Yeah. Well, I really like Scorpios. Turns out.
I like Scorpio women. Scorpio men I've never had good experiences with.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about that later when the record button's off.
We'll dive deep.
Dude, this just turned into an astrology.
Yeah, we have a side podcast.
You know, I went to music school. I've always really loved to write songs. I graduated from music school and was like, okay, now I guess this is what I'm supposed to do. So I have just spent a career of trial and error, trying to figure out how to make a living writing songs and singing them in front of people sometimes.
Yes, I think the trial and error that's life. Everything you do is just trial and error constantly.
Yeah.
No matter what field you're in, but I feel especially as a creative person, that's just the way you have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Trial and error. And also, like, the more that I do this and the older I get, it's kind of like trial and error mixed in with what am I willing to do that I'm supposed to do that makes me want to hate myself and life, and what do I like?
Yes.
What can I do authentically? Can I just, like, hashtag TikTok? Can we just go there?
Let's talk about TikTok.
You know, things like that. You know, it's like, you're sort of, at least I, in the last many years, feel like I'm always really recalibrating to, okay, I didn't get famous. I'm not 20 anymore. How do I do this sustainably where I can enjoy my life and also write, you know, be authentic to me and not be angry if I didn't blow up by now. You know what I mean? Not like I've, like, let my dreams go or anything. It's just like, changing what I'm willing to do.
Yes.
How much I'm willing to suffer. Really...
Yes,
exactly.
God, that's, like, honestly very, very inspirational to me also, as a fellow redheaded Megan songwriter.
We need to talk for at least 10 minutes of today about that we
exist
in the same reality.
Yeah, and in the same place. It's not even like across the country. No, it's right there.
But yeah, that's
What's your middle name, Megan?
Oh, my middle name is Rose.
Okay, mine's Jean.
Oh, I love that.
I was about to get really excited. I thought your middle name was gonna be Rose. I was so ready.
I should have. That was a missed opportunity. I could have lied. No one
You
needs
just
to
freaked
know.
me out. I'm like, oh my gosh, same person.
I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what you said, that is like at any age, I think, you know, you could be like a 16-year-old songwriter and you should be thinking about that. Like, what are the things that I'm willing to do and kind of suffer through, and what are the things, you know, I'm not? And that's well said, I think.
Yeah, like one of our past guests, Bonnie Stewart, who's amazing, but she was talking about how her manager was saying that she should post on TikTok 5 times a day, 4 or 5 times a day.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And she's like, I literally just post videos of my dog and just very casual life things. It's not edited in any way, very her, but it's like you literally just have to be pumping out content
Yeah.
at all ends, I feel like. And I just could not do that. Absolutely not. That's so much work and energy. And I think the idea of authenticity, I find it so hard to be authentic on social media. It's just very difficult. But
Yeah, I think there's a way to do it probably, and
Yeah.
you know, to make it work for you. But I was having this conversation with a friend recently, and I maybe just said it to make myself feel better, because I can't get myself to, like, you know, post ad nauseum. But I was thinking about people who I love and have so much respect for and love their art and love what they do, who don't pump out content constantly. And I was just trying to remind him and myself and my feeling on this, that if you are good at what you do and you make an impression, you don't have to constantly remind people that you exist and how great you are. And that I think that we forget how powerful an impression is, and how powerful it is if someone digs what you do, that feeling carries with them. And so, like, for these people that I'm talking about that I love, respect, whatever, like, whenever they post, I always am going to pay attention, because I just love what they do, and I want to know, and I don't have to, like, be reminded constantly about their greatness. It almost, like, ruins it for me. And I guess I just say that, like, hoping that I'm not the only one who feels that way, because people who I love, or people who I'm not necessarily super moved by, that's not going to change based on the amount of posting that happens.
Totally.
Yeah, no, I think that's so true. I feel like people posting all the time, and I think Megan and I were talking about this either on a episode or just, you know, in our everyday lives, about
shooting the shit.
Yeah, about how I feel like posting constantly, like, might get you attention for a minute from somebody that doesn't know who you are, and maybe they like what you do, and maybe like a handful of those people follow you and keep up with you. But I think that it's so fleeting. Like, those aren't the people that are going to stick around and listen to everything that you put out or hear everything you have to say. They're going to see it for a moment if you have something go viral or something like that. Where I think,
absolutely,
as what you're talking about, is those true fans that you could spend a year not posting anything and they're still going to be there and excited when you do.
Yeah. That's my theory.
Yes.
It might be ignorant,
like,
and I'm sorry that I started us out talking about social media. I apologize.
It's such a big part of the industry
Such a
now,
conversation, but it's kind of a gross conversation. Anyway.
Well, let's dive into the next question, which is,
okay.
I'm excited to hear your answer for this one. So, do you remember the first song you ever wrote?
Maybe kind of a little bit.
When was it?
Well, let's see. I must have been, I must have been maybe 10 or something, and my uncle had passed away, and I wrote a little piano. So I mean, I couldn't remember, like, I remember the process of writing
Yeah.
it sort of, and like having this song to process his death.
Mhm.
But I don't, I could not regurgitate it for any amount of
Oh
money
yeah.
No,
or,
for sure.
or anything, or like, I don't even know if I know. I wonder if like in a little scrapbook or something, I've got the lyrics written down, something like that. But that's probably the first like song I wrote.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's really interesting. I've never actually thought about that. But I was writing a lot of, I started playing guitar when I was 15, and there was this girl who was older than me in high school, and she was really cool, and she played guitar, and I was really jealous of her, and I really wanted to play guitar. She wrote songs, and I was like, so I started playing guitar, and she was a big inspiration to me just because I just thought she was so cool. And I taught myself how to play guitar by writing songs. That was like how I did it.
Yeah.
You know? So that collection, that high school collection, and I someone actually the you guys know Swallow, of course, you know Swallow Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the little studio in the basement?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is where I made my first recordings when I was
Oh.
16 or 17.
Oh my god.
Out in the world.
No, are you kidding me? Of course they're not out in the world. What do you think this is? I'm not a masochist. But no, the Brian who recorded them sent them to me some years ago. He's like, I have those recordings. Do you want them? And I listened to them. And yeah, anyway, I do somewhere, I think, on a hard drive, I have those first recordings. They are super special.
I love it.
They weren't the best things you've ever heard.
It's actually really, do you guys have like little teenager recordings?
Oh, yes.
Oh, do I?
Yeah, I started recording my first EP when I was 13.
Oh, yes.
And I listened back, and I was in, this sounds way weirder than it actually was, but the guy was my guitar teacher, Kevin Neal, amazing, had a studio in his house and had his friend Trent play drums for me. So it's like me, 13 to 16, working with these guys who are like in their 30s, and I'm just like in their basement, like recording songs. Very bizarre, but they're great dudes. Still friends with them. They're awesome. But and he had so much faith in me. And then I listened back to those, and the instrumentation is amazing because they were actually, professionals. And then you hear my little songs come in, like my lyrics, and I'm like, oh God, why did you have faith in this? But here I am. I wouldn't be here in the industry without them. So
true. Same. I have a very similar
some
experience.
sort of like circle of trust hang where we all bring our teenager like first recordings, and maybe we get a little drunk and just like dance and laugh and cry and so like it's like you like to get an invitation to that hang would be you definitely have to like fill out a form first or something.
Yeah, you have to fill out an NDA.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, there are questions that are like, so if you heard this, would you release it to the public? If so, you're not invited. Absolutely not.
Yeah, leave your cell phones at the door, like in a
that's amazing. It's a great idea.
But like you talking about that makes me want to hear those recordings so bad.
I honestly think they're still out there under my band name, because yes, I did have a band name with these two men when I was a child. And I think they're still out there. And the pictures that we took, I made us go to a playground and take pictures for the cover at a playground.
Pictures.
Yes, at a playground. It was a lot. We have pictures on a swing set. What was I thinking as a child? I was like, yes.
You were a child. It's perfect.
Yes, that's very true.
I have to see you on a swing set with 30-year-olds.
Oh, well,
like it is imperative.
I will send you the picture.
because now I'm just imagining it, and I need to stop imagining it and see it in real time.
Do you guys have like so many old CDs? Like,
yeah, my parents have them, and they're like, my parents are like, this is their first album, and my dad, bless him Ellsworth, he is such, oh my god, he like gives them to strangers, and I'm like, don't give them out. Don't give these away, because they're not good.
It's so nice. My parents had so much faith in me. They're like, oh yeah, we'll print 800 and then we'll print more. I was like, 800, and now I'm pretty sure I have like 750 in my closet. I'm like, what was this? Oh
yeah. Gosh. I'm a little older than you guys, so you might get to this place, but at some point in a move or something, I threw away like 500 of my first EP. And this wasn't even the one I'm talking about. This was like the one I did in college.
Oh no!
The one when I was, because you're like, you spend so much money, and you're like, oh, I got this all saved up, and like I'm gonna buy these and all of this, and then it's like, what am I gonna do with this?
Yeah.
Even
Here's the thing about that. And like, I try to instill this in people, especially when they're making their first records, or if I'm producing a record or something, like the only way to grow as an artist and a songwriter and a musician is to literally go through the painstaking process of making records, kind of ruining them, embarrassingly putting them out, and then like rinsing and repeating, and hopefully the embarrassment gets shorter and shorter and shorter.
Yes.
You know, with everything, but like there is literally no what's the word I'm trying, like there's nothing else that you can do to get that education. Literally nothing. So
you have to go through it.
You have to make your first record, and you kind of have to make your second record, and like sometimes you even have to make your third record, and then you're like, okay, I got this. I figured it out. Okay, let's do this. Let's actually do this now. You know.
So true.
So
that's so true. We were just talking about that. We just recorded Courtney from Bison Bone.
Oh,
we talked about you. All good things.
Now we're talking about him.
But we were talking about how if you look back at your old stuff and you don't cringe, it's kind of like you're not growing and you're not improving as a writer. Like the fact that we can look back at our old releases, you know, objectively and say that was horrible, makes us, you know that we've improved and have a better understanding of what good music is. So
well said.
Yes.
Well said, Carolyn. That's a great synopsis of what I said in a lot of words.
No,
you said
I just built off your idea. I just built. So now, what does your songwriting process look like? And I was curious too, because your release most recently, Good Dream, which is absolutely incredible, and we will be playing it at the end of the episode. And we're obsessed. It's literally stuck in my head. I was listening to it all morning. I was like, now it's stuck forever there.
Oh, thanks.
Yes. But what does that process look like? And with that release, did you write it with Joel, or did you write it and bring it to him? I was just curious about that.
That song, Joel is one of my favorite, you know, Joel is just top up there for me. And I love writing with him, and I'm just a fan of his music. So we had written some songs, co-written some songs on his last record, Cadillac and Geranium, and there's one other one that we co-wrote. And then in that process, apparently we had started Good Dream, and he had it in a voice memo or something like that. I could completely forgotten about it. And then over the pandemic, we tried to do these Zoom writes, or, you know, whatever, FaceTime, if remote writing, songwriting. And once a week for a while, we were getting together to write, and we were just working on that song, which I love because Joel, I feel like Joel and I have this understanding of like rational perfectionism, you know, and most people, I feel like you try to get a song done in one session, maybe two, you know.
Yeah.
And Joel and I, we just stretch that shit way out, you know. It's like as long as it takes for us to obsess over one line, we'll do it. And I love that because you know, every co-writer relationship you have is different, and I just appreciate that that's sort of how Joel and I operate. Anyway, we finished that song all over FaceTime, and with me sitting right here, actually, and
oh my gosh, so cool.
You're getting the view of this.
Oh my gosh,
it's like Joel was in this last corner of the screen. And then he actually, it was his impetus to get it recorded, because he was trying, in his sort of release plan, he was doing wanting to release singles with collaborators, and he put out maybe 4 or something with other people. And so we recorded it in here in town with Ben from you guys know Ben.
Yeah.
And he's the best.
Yes.
And it was just really cool. It was really fun. It was great for me because I'm in varying phases of 3 different records right now, and
I love that.
That's amazing.
And amazing, is that the word? Are you sure that's the word? And and anyway, it was great. It was great to do something with Joel. It was great to like do something like single where we could record it and release it and be done with it, while I'm just sort of ridiculously trying to finish all these other projects. And and I haven't had a release in a while, and so that was an exciting thing for me to release after not a lot of stuff. So yeah.
So what is your I'm curious as to how your songwriting process has changed, like maybe even over the pandemic. And are you wanting to write more with other people? Have you always been into co-writing? What's it been like recently?
I would say it's changed maybe a little bit in that I think that and this is, you know, sort of over some years, that I sort of hit a little bit of a thing when I was writing what is going to be the next record that I put out, where I kind of found this honesty that I hadn't found before.
Ooh.
And I guess if anything has changed, it's that I'm just trying to not be afraid to say what I actually mean, or say what people think but don't want to say out loud. But not do it in a crass way, you know, still try to be artful about it. And so that's something. I guess, you know, it's all just sort of like we were saying, like this is all in an effort for me to be more authentic and just write songs that I believe in, regardless of what anyone else thinks.
Yes. I love that. Yes. And that's like great advice for anybody, right? Like being authentic and just saying your truth in an artful way. And I love that, in an artful way. I don't know why. That's just like, ooh, yes, I love that. That's very well said. And I'm so glad you're doing that. What is your do you start with melody? Do you start with guitar or piano or lyrics, or is it kind of like a mixture of all 3?
I pretty much start it's like one of two ways. The ones that actually turn into songs, I feel like typically start with me playing something and singing over it and finding a melody that I love, because to me, melody is paramount, always, forever, 100%. Like lyrics are important, but they're not as important as a melody. Even if it's not a pop melody, you know, it's got to be a melody that you believe in. And and then words, you know, I do the sort of like gibberish word thing, and then syllables, sounds turn into words, turn into story. Or I'll be in the car or something and have like a line of inspiration, and I'll put it in my phone and it never to look at it again. So so usually when I actually have an idea, those are the ones that don't go anywhere, and the musings are the ones that turn into songs. Yeah, but I do love co-writing, to answer your earlier question, and I have had great periods of a lot of co-writing, especially when I was in New York. And whenever I come to Nashville, you know, most of my reasoning for coming to Nashville is to co-write. And I have some people in LA I like to write with. And so I feel like for me, co-writing is usually more structured for a purpose. Like, you know, the Ginger Bomb record was all co-written with Zach Berkman, and I loved that writing with him for that project, because I felt like it satisfied the side of me that I love, but I don't really do a lot. Like, I love the Wood Brothers, and I love kind of more cheeky, irreverent, a lot of seventh chords and stuff, but that's not really who Megan Burtt is. And so for me, I think this is because I'm a Virgo and I compartmentalize everything, which is like kind of obnoxious about my personality. But
that is like the definition of Virgo, though. If you only use one word to describe them, it would be compartmentalize.
Are you a Virgo?
No.
Okay.
Oh, me? Are you serious? Yeah. I can't compartmentalize anything, Megan.
I don't know.
I no. My mind is all just one giant mush together. I need someone to teach me to compartmentalize.
She's a Pisces baby.
We can have compartmentalized lessons if you want.
Yes. We'll do a whole other podcast episode about how to compartmentalize.
Oh my God, please have me on that podcast.
Oh no, you're going to be hosting it. We're going to be the guests. You're going to be the teacher.
Oh God, exactly. Like 2 people will listen to that podcast. That would be so boring, but I would be so turned on the whole time.
She's like, this is what I live for.
Yeah.
I'm living.
Anyway, my songwriting is very compartmentalized. Moral of the story.
Yes. And love it. When you write, do you write solo and bring it to a co-writing session? Like, what does it look like for you? Or is it you have a purpose for the co-write for either you or the person you're co-writing with?
I try to always have a purpose, because I'm like an efficiency freakazoid, and so I don't want to waste time.
Yeah.
It's like great for creativity. We have exactly 2 hours and we will be creative.
I think there's definitely a balance though of, you know, being efficient, but also like you still give the song, like when you were talking about writing with Joel about we can focus on one line for however long, you still give the creative space to, you know, let the song breathe and let it grow and morph into what it needs to be while still being efficient. And I think that's a good balance.
Yeah, definitely. And to, you know, the people that I love to co-write with all fit sort of a certain thing in what I do and what they do. So it's like one person I know is really just sync licensing, And so I know that's what we're going to write for. So that's that thing. And like Zach and I are always probably going to write for Ginger Bomb or maybe some sync. So that's what that is. And like, you know, people like Joel, you know, we're probably either going to write something for like one of us or a collaboration to put out, or, you know, that kind of thing. Or like, there's some people that I write with where for whatever reason, like we always sort of write for their records, and that's cool too. You know, I love being on other people's. I have a lot of co-writes on a lot of like records no one's ever heard.
You're like, but they're there.
I love it.
They're there.
They're there. And kind of going off of that, would you consider yourself more of an artist or more of a songwriter? And why would you consider yourself?
Whoa.
Heavy hitter.
We're really good at coming up with questions.
Oh my gosh. I need to like go take a walk right now. I'm like a little out of breath thinking about answering that question.
Or you can be both.
I've never been asked that before.
Oh my god!
I'm honored. The exclusive answer.
Wow. I don't even know how to answer that, because here's the thing. My knee-jerk reaction is artist, but I care so much about songwriting, and like I have such reverence for it, and it's important to me to write for things outside of my project, that I think if I woke up at one day and was like, I can't book another gig, like I'm tired, I don't think I'd ever give up the songwriting. I think that would be the constant through the whole thing. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Ooh,
well, you can be both. You could.
Yeah.
I was just curious because I know you're so involved in both of those worlds. And
I don't know how to compartmentalize this answer.
And I was like, curious
starting
too,
to twitch.
Yes, I feel like a lot of songwriters that are also artists like would never perform or record anybody else's writing themselves. Would you ever do that?
Yeah, I just did.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I made, this is like this is a whole other podcast, but I made a record this last year and put one of John McVeigh's songs on it that he produced and engineered the record with me, and I needed another song, and I love his songwriting. So
that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like that's cool to like talk about too, like especially as an artist that is also a songwriter. I think you can kind of get in your head about like, when I release something, like it has to be all my songs, or I have to be like a co-writer on it. And I think that's cool that you just were like, yeah, no, I just did that. Like that, I feel like that's kind of that's nice. I don't know. Like you don't have to be a writer on every one of the songs that you release as an artist, especially in the kind of indie landscape. I feel like that's definitely something that's kind of, you know, it's like, oh, like they didn't write their songs, you know. But I love that. I think you can absolutely do that. That's cool.
I mean, the you know, for me, the only argument not to is because of, sorry, Caroline, like the publishing nightmare of if you ever.
Oh no, it is a nightmare. I live it every day, you know.
I mean, truly, like sometimes I make decisions about songs purely based on like the potential of a song growing some legs and having some opportunity, and if I wrote it and I can clear it 100% versus like if I have a co-writer on a major publisher and the nightmare of like trying to clear that song if it gets in a whatever. So that's my only literally my only thought about not doing that is purely for business administration.
I love it.
It's definitely something that you need to think about though, because it's the people that don't think about it that have trouble, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and I was also thinking, like, that's the biggest compliment too for him, that you're like, I love your songwriting so much that I'm just gonna record it me, and um I don't have any say in it. It's the song is what it is, and it's amazing. I think that's such a huge compliment for him. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you like the song this much to put your name on it too. I think that's
Yeah.
awesome.
There are so many songs like that, you know, like these
Mhm.
diamond in the roughs. I think about that all the time, like songs, songs that will never be heard
Mhm.
by artists who aren't huge, and
Yeah.
it kind of makes me sad sometimes. Like I've dreamt up these projects where I like travel the country as a song collector and find songs from people who are like your dad's song, like someone's dad's songwriter who never tried to be famous but wrote some songs. And
Yeah.
I feel like it could be like, there's a romanticism to that project, and there's also like your conversation about the guy at the bar who was like,
Yep.
listen to my stuff, you know? And you're like,
Yeah.
oh God, if I have to hear another shitty song, you know.
Yeah.
But I just you know, I know so many artists and so many troubadour singer songwriters who have these amazing songs, and I don't know, the the optimist in me just wants to give life to all the great songs out there somehow.
Yeah.
God,
I love
that.
the idea of being a song collector. I love
Yes.
that idea.
Like,
That's your
what's
next
that guy's
profession.
name? Alan Lomax?
Oh
Who
yeah,
did
I
that?
want to be like the modern day female weirder
Alan
version
Lomax
of
for the
Alan Lomax.
Smithsonian. Yes.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. If I ever, this is another Virgo thing. You just dream up projects you never actually accomplish.
I know. I'm like, you're not doing enough right now with the 3
Yeah,
albums. You can
with
add
3
that to the
albums.
list of what to do.
This is kind of, veering to the next question, but what advice do you have for women songwriters and artists in this male dominated industry? Heavy hitter.
I would say just, this is more than a songwriting thing, more of just like a life thing. And if you're a songwriter, you just like apply it to your music. But you know, women are so powerful, and we are so much better at everything than men. And
Yes.
and like everything, you know, and this sort of competition, like pitting against ourselves thing, is just, it's got to go. And I think that we all just need to spend time like raising each other up, and and the more authentic that we can be, and the more work we can do on ourselves to be people that we love, the less we'll have to try to prove outwardly. And you know, I just think it's like, I think like if you're a female songwriter, just, or I don't know, that sounds super, I don't want to be like preachy. I guess that's sort of where I'm at, you know, just trying to give opportunity and raise that voice, and work on myself so that I don't need to feel like I need to be better than anyone else. And I definitely have had phases of that, of wanting to feel better than other songwriters, especially women songwriters, because you just sort of end up having this like competition with yourself, with ourselves, you know, even if it's silent and kind of not, you know, it's sort of that elephant silent thing in the room, but it's, I just don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, and like, I think you're so right, the silent elephant thing, because there's always been an unsaid, you know, there's only one token woman at the table, allowed at the table. And so, you know, they've had to fight to get to that spot. And now I think hopefully we're entering a phase in the world and in the industry where there's, you know, there's no limit to the seats available to anybody.
Totally.
And
Yeah.
so I love that, just raising each other up. Yeah.
Yeah. And
there's so much room for redheaded Megan songwriters.
oh my gosh. Yeah, we're gonna rule
the world.
We're gonna rule the world. Yeah. And we're gonna need one in every, we just need to multiply and conquer. The other thing too that was one of my really big regrets, and I feel like seeing people in their early 20s now, I feel like they have this figured out. So this isn't really advice. This is more just me being like, oh, and I don't know how that changed, but I think part of the reason this is such a male dominated industry is because women haven't been as encouraged on the like engineering production side of things. And so we sort of like need that collaboration partner in order to get our music out there. And the more females that we have in production and engineering, and the more women that can do it themselves, it just allows for the choice of like, well, do I want to work with someone else or do I have to work with someone else? And I feel like a lot of females that I've seen, again, who are young and coming up, kind of have that maybe more than 10 years ago when I was on that, it was still like, you got to call the guy to like record your music or whatever. And so that's just one thing that I'm now sort of backpedaling on and like trying to get better at production and the engineering side of things. And I wish that I had done that when I was 20.
Never too late.
That's my other piece of advice. It's never too late. No. And I'm working,
I think.
Yeah. And you produce other people's albums, right? You work as a producer.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. You're doing everything. You are paving the way for women producers,
I don't think I am. Mary Bragg is. Do you guys know Mary Bragg?
No. Who's that?
Talk to Mary Bragg. She's a badass and she's paving the way.
We're gonna have her on.
Yeah, she's
Mary, this is a call.
We should have her on. That's a great idea.
Yes, that would be incredible.
She's amazeballs. She's doing all the things. She's an artist, an amazing songwriter, great singer, production engineer. She's my idol.
Yes.
Okay, going off of that, I'm gonna complain about something for a bit. That happens in Nashville all the time. At writers' rounds, I'll see women who will sing their songs, but they'll have a man play guitar for them. And I just hate it. I absolutely hate it. I'm like, I understand if you can't play guitar well enough to like present your song, but one, you like choose not to. Like you have the ability to learn. Even if you don't want to, have a woman play. There are so many amazing guitar players here that are women. Why are we having the one woman who's in this writers round to begin with bring another man on stage and play guitar? It makes me so infuriated. I just get so angry. I'm like, give me a guitar. I'm not great. I can still play the 3 chords that are in your song just as well as that guy can. I get so heated.
Yeah, man. If I had $1 for every white, cis, hetero lead guitar player that I know, I'd be rich.
Yeah. I love the idea of women like wanting to find other women for their band and stuff like that, which I didn't do when I
haven't done that.
Yeah,
I have an all-dude band.
I'm currently in the process of doing that, and it is hard. It's surprisingly difficult to find, and it's not, but it's difficult in the sense that the women that I'm like I'm searching for women to be in my band, and they're already in so many projects because they're so wanted, and that's great. So that's what makes it hard, which is it's a good thing, but it's also like we should have more. We need more.
Yeah. I have a theory on why that this is like purely theory, but I have a theory on why that happens. And I think that it's because in high school and middle school, girls need connection. And so they spend a lot of time with their friends and communicating and feeling their feelings and being 13 and like being on the phone and being with their friends and being in community. Very like natural, whatever. And boys are in this like awkward hormone phase, and they're happy to just sit in their room by themselves and like shed their instruments. And so when you get to be in your 20s and you're in college, like, and not by any fault of anyone's own, it's just sort of this, again, this is my theory. I'm not a psychologist. I just was 13 once and dated, you know, like I dated the guitar players in high school and stuff. And they were super happy to just like be at home, like either hanging out with me or just like shedding their guitar. And I wanted to be out of my house and hanging out with friends and in community and connecting. And so I don't know what the solution to that is. I think mentorship and whatever, but I think that that's part of why that happens.
Yeah.
And also because the music industry is so hard that women probably get smart and they're like, we don't need this, and men are dumb and they're like, sure, we'll suffer, we don't care.
Like, we like guitar, we'll keep playing.
yeah I don't know, that's a little mean, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah
I don't know,
that makes sense. Yeah, because I think about, I know so many men that have mastered, I shouldn't say mastered, you can always learn, but have really gone all the way with their instrument. And I think it is a lot of that, like not even discipline to practice, but just like they're fine just being alone practicing for hours on end. I would literally jump out a window. I would hate that. I could not be alone for that long, just practicing and perfecting it.
That is so true.
Yeah.
And I actually talk about this with Matt Hoffman a lot, because I'm like, for my backing band, like I need a weekly rehearsal, not even for the other people, but for me. I need it because that it holds me accountable. That helps me show up to the practice prepared. So I have to, you know, practice at least once on my own, which is kind of hard to get myself to do a lot of the time. And also, like, that's, if I don't show up prepared, then that's, you know, that's my practice. That's a 2 or 3 hour practice for me to run through the songs and get them under my fingers. If I didn't have the mental stamina to do it on my own. That's so true. I know so many people, mainly men, that can just play guitar for hours and hours and hours. And I don't know if that has to do with me being a feminine presenting person, but I can't do that. I've never been able to. When I was taking guitar lessons as a kid, it was like, just play the chords. Please practice them once and come back to me. And I was like, no. You know,
actually,
so
that's such an interesting theory.
That is a very
I want to dive
theory.
into it because I feel like that's, I mean, from my experience, that's true. Not to say that I have not met women who have completely mastered their instrument.
Totally, of course.
Amazing.
Everyone's different, of
Yeah.
course. But I just wonder, like, you know, what if guitar lessons for girls when you were 10 and 11 and 12 and 13 were like a group of 4?
Yeah.
And you could go be in community and like play guitar with your girlfriends, and it was fun and you weren't alone. And I just wonder, you know,
Totally.
I just wonder if like psychology could be part of how to change the music industry. It's like, you know, like child psychology, because it's no one's fault that they have tendencies towards whatever.
Yeah, that's so interesting, because I also feel like, and wow, this is just becoming a against men podcast. I promise there are men that we like, but I think that there are, like, men are way more willing to just say that, like, oh, I play guitar, or oh, I play bass, like I'm an instrumentalist, you know, I'll play in your band, like it's very much definitely like they're more willing to just, you know, hey, I play guitar, let me play with you, kind of thing.
Yeah, there is a confidence factor to it, but again, that's like back to the psychology of it, you know.
Yeah. Raise men and women the same, or girls and boys. I guess when they're young, they're girls and boys now.
And also like leave space to like let them choose what their gender identity is, you know. Like, man, we're getting off.
We could make a whole other podcast.
Yeah, is this about songwriting or no?
What is this about?
But it's appropriate because songwriting, you know, I think if songwriting is done well, it encapsulates the human condition, and there's so much to that.
Yes, so true.
Humanity thing.
So true.
Okay, so next question for you.
Okay,
this is kind of a heavy hitter, hard question.
If we're giving you all the tough ones.
If you could only show someone one song that you've written that you think fully encapsulates you as a person and as an artist, which song would it be and why?
Dang. Oh man. There's a song on the record that's going to come out next called Drugstore Brand that feels very me. And I'm very I feel proud of the lyrics and the metaphor and the, you know, it's sort of like feels like all the things I've been talking about wanting to do. And there's a song on what will be the record after that called Language that's for me it feels like kind of the most important song I've written because it talks about my relationship with family, and there's some theme to it that feels really important, and it feels like a very important song for who I am as a person, and but no one's heard that song, so I don't know. And then I think about like sometimes you want to play songs that people will get easily, and you know, sort of like the fan favorites. So I don't know how to answer that question. I don't know that I've written it yet, actually.
I think
that like perfectly. I think that's the answer.
Yeah, I don't know if I've written it yet that like perfectly encapsulates all the things. That are
so
important to me.
Hear those songs, though. Oh my gosh, be so exciting.
Yeah, and kind of going off of that, when do you have any upcoming releases? Any teasers we can talk about?
Yeah, I everything's been very pushed back, unfortunately, but I have a little acoustic EP that I made, just honestly sort of to like prime the pump for these albums, and it's got 2 unreleased songs on it, and that will probably come out, I don't know, maybe next month. It's done. I just need to like upload it.
That's so
awesome.
Exciting.
And then I'll start
probably by the time this is out, it will be out.
Oh, cool. Great.
Fingers crossed if we figure out what we're doing.
That's awesome.
And then I'll start releasing singles from this next record. You know, I'll probably put a single out in August and maybe another one in October, and then release it early next year.
That's exciting.
But yeah, a lot of
have
releases.
3 albums in the works right now.
I know. Here's my advice to people. You want it, don't do that. Don't not release anything because you have so much material that you don't not release anything for a bunch of years and then like poop out all of the stuff that you haven't recorded all at once. Like I'm just like I'm so off my flow, you know, where people like write a record and release it. Yeah, no, I just decided to just not. I can't even get into it. It's not. Anyway.
Now you have so much content, and now it's
so
just
much content.
releasing it. You know, I mean, no pressure.
I'm excited. Oh my God.
Yes.
So exciting. So much Megan Burtt to come to my ears.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hang in there. You'll just be like, is she still releasing singles?
You're like, how does she have more songs? What's happening?
Like, give it a rest, Megan. Yeah.
So we've reached our final question.
Final question.
Why do you write songs?
I don't know.
And that is a perfectly
You're like,
perfect
you tell
answer.
Me.
I don't know. It just happens to be the most satisfying, fulfilling thing in the world to me. And I think like anyone who has found that thing, there's nothing better than writing a song. There's no better feeling in the entire world, literally in the entire world, than writing a song that you love and feeling like, oh my gosh, I literally just made something from nothing. And I think that combined with the fact that I'm an introvert and I don't really like to talk about my feelings, like having an outlet to do that, it all just makes sense for me.
Oh, love that answer.
That's like emotional.
Megan's crying. So.
I love that. That's just so, yes. Relate in every way. That's so true. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh my God. We love you.
I love you guys.
Such a great podcast.
It was so good to have you on. Oh,
thank you for
long overdue.
Me.
Yeah, honestly. You're going to have to come back every season now. You're committed. I didn't know if you didn't know, but now that you're releasing so much new music, you have more to talk about. So you're going to be a recurring guest.
Talk about songs next time and not about my hypothesis on life.
on children's psychology.
Yeah.
Well,
thank you so much.
You guys so much. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And we're going to close out the episode with your song "Good Dream" with Joel Ansett. Yes, it was so good to have you on.
Yes, we love you. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, guys.
Everybody feels like they're falling behind, rushing for a place in line for a thing that they already own. Don't need it, you bleed it, I see it. When you get a little off track, you got riches that you look past. I don't wanna see you fall back down. Don't know why you'd let a good dream die, even though it hurts sometimes just being yourself. See you chasing, putting on your faces. Listen to me, that's not you, that's somebody else. Thinking of a time in your old backyard, laughing cause you lost your guard and you found just a hint of a spark. God-given, good living, long vision, but you wonder how it plays out, and you stumble through your own doubt. I don't wanna see you fade